Happy Thursday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? My name is Caroline. Welcome back to my channel. This is a Flosstube video, for the most part, a video all about cross stitching today with some knitting as well. I do love knitting. And guess what? I have a finish today. I know, another finish. Who am I? Can you believe it? I have a finish. I'll get to that in just a minute. So, welcome back. If you're a returning guest, it's nice to see you back. Nice to visit with you again. And if you're a new viewer, welcome, welcome. I am recording here in London, Ontario, Canada, here at the Evertote workshop, which is my small business. And this is Off the Grid Needlearts is my more personal Flosstube channel. I have so much to share with you today. I've got a list. I've got a stack of projects to share with you. I've done lots of stitching. I've done lots of knitting. It's been a great week. I just wanted to, now I'm just catching them in my eye, I just wanted to mention, I had an email from a viewer last week about my white DMC thread boxes. She was wondering where I got them because she was looking specifically for the white ones. Unfortunately, I did purchase them, but I bought them from my local needlework shop when they were retiring. They are very old boxes and they had them in their needlework shop. They were using them to store their floss in. So those boxes are at least 20 years old. And I think I purchased, you know, at least half of the inventory that they were selling off when they were retiring. So I have some, you can see through some of the bins and not others. I had some cardstock that I put in the front of some of the drawers. I was just trying it out, but overall I didn't really mind that I could see my things through them. My intention was always to label the bins, but I just found that I was just sort of not, there wasn't a rhyme or reason to the bins. They just hold my excess stash, and I like to go through them all anyways, so it wouldn't matter. I could label the box and I would still end up putting something different in it anyways. So that's just it's just how I roll. I also purchased some baskets off of Amazon. I think I just Googled, you know, these are Kallax shelves from IKEA. I think it's K-A-L-L, is it C? I can't remember. They're ubiquitous with IKEA. Like a lot of people who shop at IKEA recognize these shelves. It's just a 5x4 cubby, the Kallax shelving unit, and I love them. I love them. We have a smaller one at home, and yeah, use it all the time. And so I think I just Googled in Amazon, I searched in Amazon for baskets that would fit the Kallax cubbies, and so that's just what they are. And I think I got 4 of them. They're great and they fit a lot of stuff. And so I have that bin has projects that are kitted that I'm not quite sure whether I want to stick with what I've kitted them. These are just charts and magazines that are extra, and I think there's knitting whips in that one, and I can't remember off the top of my head what I stuck in that one, but just helping myself get a little bit more organized with my own personal stash here at the workshop. I love being able to have all of my place finally finding a home for my stash pile, which has been really nice. Are you ready to see my finish? If you've been here for a while, you're gonna be so glad. You're gonna be so glad that these are done and you never have to see them again. 1, 2. 2 biscuit socks. They are finished. Done. I finished the second one last night and I am so pleased with them. These, when I finished the first one, I tried it on and it was just a little snug. So I had already decided, because my daughter Sarah has slightly smaller feet than I do, and she has said all along that she really liked these socks. So these are for her. So they are done and ready for me to give to her when she comes home. She's still in Australia, and side note, she still likes the boy. She has met a boy in Australia. He is he's lovely. From the little bit that we know about him, the little bit that we've spoken with him when he's with her on FaceTime or, so anyways, she really likes him. So that's my Sarah update. So the socks are finished. Now I know those of you who know my knitting saga and my gifting to Sarah will also be wondering, what about that blanket that you were knitting for Sarah? No, that's not done yet. But it's on the list now that these socks are done. And you know, it feels so good to get some of these older projects done. I mean, who would have thought, right? So anyways, these are the Biscuit socks. As you can see, I'll show you one up close. And this is the last time. This is the last time, unless I did this pattern in a different yarn. But you've been, let me see, I did write it down. I've been keeping track of my finishes. A couple years ago, I bought these inexpensive notebooks. I like these hardcover ones from Amazon. They're just lined notepads. And I've been keeping track of my finished projects in here. So in 2002, November the 17th, 2002 is when I finished the first sock. And so last night, March the 5th, 2023 is when I finished the second sock. But I started these socks back at the beginning of the pandemic, way back in 2020. That was when I started the first sock. So it's finally they are done, finally. So they are the Biscuit socks by Lorraine, I believe Lorraine Ashley of LNS Crafts. I will put a link to the pattern in the drop down box below. The pattern is available on Ravelry. It's just a very simple sock construction with just a little bit of small extra details just to give it a little bit more interest. There's a slip stitch pattern on the leg. Just make sure you can see that there. Isn't that pretty? There's an extra purl bump ridge on the top, as well as one right before the heel. And then I always do a super long gusset because I have a really high arch in my foot. And so this allows extra width over the top of my foot for it to fit better. And Sarah also has a high arch, so they will fit her really well as well. Done. The yarn, Polka Dot Creek, which is a dyer from Airdrie, Alberta in Canada. And it looks like I have misplaced the tag. The tag is here somewhere. But anyways, Polka Dot Creek, and the name of this yarn from way back when, more than a few years back, was called Pistachio Nut Crunch. It was a 75% merino, 25% nylon. Done. I have more knitting to share, but I'm going to save that to the end of this video. I had a giveaway last week. I have a lot of stuff going on here, folks. So just trying to keep myself organized. Okay, so I finished the Heartstring Samplery C is for Coffee, and this was my giveaway. I was passing the stash on the chart from last, so this was the giveaway from 2 weeks ago. The YouTube random comment picker has changed their, now if you want to use a word if you want to filter comments for a word, it's part of their premium package, so you actually have to pay now. So I feel like I don't really have enough comments. I'm not like thousands of comments trying to filter out. So I still think that I can still ask for people to use a word in their comment, and I'll just keep hitting the, choose another winner if that word that I'm looking for is not in the comment that I'm looking for. Anyways, 2 weeks ago, I was looking for the word coffee in your comment, and the random comment chooser chose Suzanne Williams. So Suzanne, I'll pop your comment up here. I did take a screen capture of it, and congratulations. If you could email either myself, Caroline at evertote.ca, or Lee at evertote.ca, and that is Leigh at evertote.ca, then we can get this out in the mail to you. So Lee is fairly new here at the Evertote workshop, and she is helping us out with, well, she's our new packing and shipping person. If you receive a package from Evertote, chances are that Lee has packaged it very carefully and shipped it to you, as well as being sort of a switchboard for questions and, you know, lots of different things for helping us harness our email. Helping us wrangle the email is probably a better way to put it. So Suzanne, congratulations. We'll get this in the mail out to you. I have 2 giveaways for this week. 2 giveaways. So I had to go and get this to show it off again. I shared this on my other floss tube, joint floss tube that I do with Carrie of Roxy Floss Co over on the Evertote Notes from the Workshop channel. So I showed this already last Thursday, but I'm going to show it again. This is my finish on the Ink Circles Damask Square. Oh, it's so pretty. And this was a pre-finished fabric square from the Ubalor company. And in case you didn't catch that video, and I want to brag about this again, this was stitched with Dinky Dyes silk, 2 strands of floss over 2. I think it's at least a 28 count. I'm not exactly sure. 2 strands of floss, silk floss, and the color was 93 Pacific. So that is finished. And so I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I had an extra one of these fabric square style things in my stash, and so that is what I have to give away for today. So this, it's a little different. It's not the same, it's not the exact same as this one. So this one, and forgive the wrinkles, it has been, this actually actually the tag is still on this one, so forgive the wrinkles. It needs a good press. It's white and it has a beautiful lace border on the outside. So this is, you can see, this is the, I'll put the company tag up on the screen here. These are not easy to find. In fact, I haven't seen another one available online. There we go. Made in Austria, Ubalor. And so that is the tag that's still attached. You can see it's a 26 count. And I thought I had to send it with some floss. This, I believe, this was a one-of-a-kind floss that Carrie dyed last year. I'm gonna say this was at least from before last Easter time last year, and it's this beautiful lighter purple, and it's called Isn't She Lovely? It's a one-of-a-kind floss. I think we've got like 140 skeins left, and then that's it. It's gone. So I'm going to include 4 skeins of this with this pre-finished fabric square. So you need to include the word lovely in your comment, and then I'll choose a winner in 2 weeks. So that's giveaway number 1. And then giveaway number 2 is a chart, a Halloween chart, a Lizzie Kate Halloween chart. I saw this one and I thought, oh, that's fun. I know that somebody gave me this chart to give away, and I apologize, I can't remember who it was. I've had this for a while now, so it's about time that I'm giving it away. So this is a Lizzie Kate Hats Off to Halloween 2. So there are 2 patterns in here, hats off and be very scary. So this is the second giveaway, and so if you would like a chance to win the Lizzie Kate chart, just put the word Halloween in your comment, and so that's the word I'll be looking for. And you can enter both, so you need the word lovely and the word Halloween. So if you want to enter for both, just put both of those words in your comment below. And in 2 weeks I'll choose the winner. I will not leave you a comment on your comment. I will announce your name here on the channel, so just watch out for that. If you do get a comment that says you've won something, please send us your information, it's a scam. Don't send anybody your information. I'll tell you here if you've won. Whew. Okay, so I've been mentioning how I've been using a timer app to make progress on both mostly newer projects that I'm working on for the shop, that are also for myself, but more shop style models, as well as getting back into finishing these older projects that have been in my stash for a long time, that I love, that a lot of them they're half done. There's got to be a way for me to fit more time in and touch more of my whips on a more regular basis. So I've been using an app called the Multi-Timer, and so the timers themselves look like that. There are 6 timers on the app, and I set each one of them, well, I set 5 of them for 6 hours, and then the 6th one I'm using as my stitch along timer, where instead of counting down, I'm counting up, so that I can keep track of how much time a project is taking me. So I had up until, so this is the thing with recording 2 videos. I want to tell you all the exciting things that I've been doing. So some of you, I am repeating myself a little bit, and I apologize, but it's all really good stitching, I promise. So hopefully you're not bored. I had spring Quakers on my timer for 6 hours. That was a chart by Macy of Quaint Rose Needlearts. That's this chart here, and I love it. I've been wanting to stitch it for at least a year, so I started it a few months back now, and I put 6 hours on my timer, and I put 6 hours of progress into my piece. So this piece has now been taken off of my timer and replaced with a different one, but here's where I got to my 6 hours of progress. This is a 46 count linen porcelain by Roxy Floss Co, and I am using the called for Roxy Floss Co flosses. I love it. 46 count, it's teeny tiny, dainty, and beautiful. And those little pops of pink in there just make it so pretty. I've made a few changes. Actually, the little tiny petals at the bottom, you can see on the chart here, the tiny petals at the bottom. It's pink surrounded by a paler pink. And also, if you look in the right hand corner, there is a little motif that's missing from both the chart and the cover model, and I have I added it in down there in that corner there. You'll know what I mean if you're stitching this chart. Just watch out for it. Also, these motifs here, don't be fooled, they are different. The 2 on the outside are the same, and then the 2 on the inside are the same, so just watch out for those. Don't go on autopilot, because when you check the pattern again, you'll say, oh, they're different. So I completed my 6 hours of time on this, and so I cleared it from my timer, and then I added back in, taking its spot, I added in Hibernation Day, which is a Heartstring Samplery piece. So here's what it looks like prior to any more time put in it. So the next time you see this one, hopefully I will have put 6 more hours of work into it. So I will be finishing the houses and working my way up. So everything, I started at the bottom, working my way up, everything is done. This is a 28 count linen, Panettone by Roxy Floss Co. And I'm doing my own Roxy Floss Co floss conversion. All the project details for everything that I'm talking about today will be in the drop down box below. My editing time is a little bit limited today, so if I forget to say something, or if you've got any more questions about anything that I'm talking about, please leave me a comment below or send me an email. So yeah, Hibernation Day. Absolutely love stitching this piece, so I'm really excited to get back to it. So 6 hours have been added to my timer, and then I will complete that next. Not complete the piece, but I'll put 6 hours of work into it. I find that 6 hours is a really good time limit for me. It's long enough that I can see progress, but it's not too long so that I am bored and looking to start something else, right? I think you can, those of you with multiple whips going at the same time, it's a thing. I just cannot work on the same thing until it's done, because I just get far too bored. Yeah, just how it is. So the other pieces that are on my timer currently, so Hibernation Day is one, Halsingland Blommer. This is, oh my gosh, this piece. I'm just so in love with this. So I've stitched on, since I last shared this, I've done about 2 hours, 20 minutes of work on it. And there's where we're at. My needle's still stuck in this. I was working on this last night. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. So, oh yeah, this pure joy working on this. It's another 28 count linen. It's a one-of-a-kind Roxy Floss Co linen. It was just an off dye that I fell in love with, so I grabbed some. Closest that is like this is probably lentil, which is a green. It's not exactly the same shade, but it's close enough. The two floss colors that I'm using are Pippy, which is the darker, and then South Beach, Roxy Floss Co. South Beach is the lighter sort of coral color, pink coral. This is a piece by Modern Folk Embroidery, and it's called Halsingland Blommer. And I'll put a link in the drop down box below, so in case you need help with the spelling. But I just love it. Love it. It's just such a pleasure. My plan is to turn this into a cushion. Beautiful. So much fun to stitch that one. So that one, as well as there are two other pieces on here on my timer that I haven't touched yet, that I will do my 6 hours on them before I get to Hibernation Day, because I'm still trying to hold myself somewhat accountable. The 6 hours are there on a timer, and so I don't want to just keep picking the next new thing and plugging it into the 6 hour timer. I want to get to those, like, I love all of my whips so much, so it's there for a reason. Get back to it, put the 6 hours in, and really, as soon as you put it on the frame and you start putting the needle in, you want to stitch it again. So this is Flora McCullough. Flora McCullough needs her 6 hours of time. This is a chart by Ruthie of Crowsfeetstitching. That's what it looks like there, the chart. It's a beautiful sampler. It's a really, really beautiful sampler. At the bottom it says sewed by Flora McCullough in Kilbride, 1st of August 1846, and it's an original reproduction by Ruthie Taylor from last year. Love it. So I carry the physical copies of that chart in the shop, and Ruthie has PDFs available on her Etsy site. So the last time I haven't worked on this since I shared it with you last time, so some of you will have seen this before already. This is a piece of 36 count, what was this again? Dirty Porcelain. 36 count Dirty Porcelain. And I started at the bottom like I normally do. And I completed all of the bottom border as well as the 1/1 words. So I really, really, really must get some work above that so that I can start seeing some of the beautiful color starting to happen. So yeah, this is a 36 count fabric, and it's not normally, normally if I'm doing stitching like this where it's like a sampler or something like that, I would more gravitate towards a 40 count or like the spring piece, like even a 46 count, which I love 46 count. I really find that it is just, there's something about the way that my eyes see. I have to take my glasses off to stitch, and because I am so nearsighted, I actually can see really, really well without my glasses on. I don't need magnification. In fact, I don't even need fantastic lighting. I have good lighting, and I know that it helps, but I take my glasses off and I can see perfectly. And 46 count. In fact, when I was working on that, the friendship sampler, Ellen's chart, which I'll show you in a few minutes, it's on a 40 count. I was sure that it was 36 because it felt so big compared to, because I've been working on It is the Quaint Quakers. I've been working on that 46 count for the 6 hours, but the 40 count felt big. It felt like 36 count. So 36 count is going to feel huge, but I love the way it looks. So it's 1 strand of floss over 2. And normally I like that really plump coverage, but I think for samplers, I'm really digging it. I'm digging the 1 strand of floss over 2. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Luna's having a good old snooze fest beside me here. So that's Flora McCullough. The other piece that I have on my timer that I haven't touched yet, that's up next, is the Lila Studio Nevermore chart. Look at this, you guys. I have to get back to this. It's so, so pretty. This is a 40 count Dirty Porcelain, Roxy Floss Co, with my own Roxy Floss Co floss conversion. And I'm really going off course on the colors here. I'm not following Lila's symbols for my colors. So if this is a conversion that you've purchased from the shop, I have a video. In fact, if you look for the Halloween shop update video from last year, like I think the 13-minute mark, I talk about where I'm using the different colors. But it's one of those charts that's really wide open to your own interpretation of color choices, which I just love. And so I am going to be focusing my 6 hours of time in this bottom band. I really would love to see this start to fill in and come to life, because I can't wait to stitch the words. But I feel like I really need this finished first. So that's the goal. So yeah, 40 count, 1/2. And this is on the timer. So Flora and Nevermore haven't had any of the 6 hours done on them. So I need to get those going, and then I can get back into hibernation day. I think what it is because, you know, a lot of my stitching time is at night when I'm tired. And the 28 count Halsingland Blommer, I don't need to read the pattern for it. It's geometric, it's 2 colors. I can load my needle up with floss and just stitch. So it's really easy to do when I'm, and my sock knitting, it's round and round. I don't have to think about it. It's simple, it's easy. So when I don't have a lot of time and I'm really busy at work, those are the types of projects. Those are just the types of projects that I naturally gravitate towards. So this weekend, I'm going to visit my mom and dad. I'm taking my son Nicholas with me. John's going to stay at home with Luna, and Nicholas and I are driving down to visit my parents for a night. And so I'm going to take, well, actually, I'll tell you in a minute, I'm taking a new start because I can't help it. Well, I can't help it, but I don't want to help it. There's a little coffee design, and it's just a small, and I wanted to start it forever. I'll tell you about it in a few minutes. But anyways, I am taking some sock knitting, and I'm taking a new small start. When I get back home, Saturday and Sunday, so we will be, my father-in-law will be with us for the remainder of Easter weekend, and so I will have a little bit of time off from work. So I'll be working on Flora and Nevermore are going to see some attention this weekend. So stay tuned. I'll fill you in next week. I had to stop and get a fresh battery. I had to change my battery. So there we go. If the angle's a little bit different, you'll know why. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, yeah, I'll show you that in a little bit. My stitch along. The stitch along that I am hosting for the Friendship Sampler, which was designed by my friend Ellen of Maximum Cross Stitch. This is the original chart called the Friendship Sampler. I love it. And this chart has so many options for personalization. So many. So I was a little bit overwhelmed with the choice. So Ellen helped me out, and I sort of told her what I had in mind, how I wanted to do it. And I could have done it. I could have figured it out, but she is my friend Ellen. And she's really quick with these things. So she changed a few things around and she sent it to me. But this is pretty close to the version that's already in this chart. So if you wanted to take out the 1/1 words, as well as the, in fact, you know, Ellen, I probably could have done it this way. I think I made Ellen go to a lot of work, and I would have been just as happy with this. Except I did change the verse. I went to the 1/2 version of the verse instead of the 1/2. So this is actually in the chart itself. You could totally follow along with this. She also took out this bottom row because my cartouche, the phrase cartouche, so this is what my version will look like. So happiness attends the company of friends. So that's the verse that I'm using in the middle. This is the one that's in the chart. You could easily use this one instead if you wanted to change it up and remove the little tiny figurines, as well as the cartouches with the initials in them. Okay, it's really, it's quite, you can do it. So I am now 3 weeks into the stitch along. I think this is the end of the 3rd week. I'm giving myself until the end of August to complete this, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And I think that's, turn this around, there we go. There. So I'm stitching mine on a piece of 40 count porcelain. I think the model is on Dirty Porcelain, but I decided to do mine on porcelain. So I've got the middle cartouches complete, and then I worked my way up because I want to finish the alphabet and the border around the alphabet next, so that I can base the counting of my border on the alphabet. So that's why I did that. So my goal, I think I've spent about 4 hours on this, maybe 5 total, because I forgot to get my timer going. That's the thing about these timers, you have to remember to use them. So I think I didn't set it off the last couple of stitching times that I had, but I'm just loving it so much. I love it. So 40 count, 1 strand of floss over 2, and I am using the Roxy Floss Co called for flosses. 40 count. Love it. I love it. So there is a hashtag if you would like to join in. There's a hashtag on Instagram. It's hashtag my friend Ellen's sampler. And I have been trying to post 1 photo per week in my stories on Instagram. My Instagram page is at Evertotes, and I try to post a story once a week, and then I'm moving it into the highlight reel, so I can keep track of my stitch along progress there. So the reason I have set my goal to complete this by the end of August is because my next stitch along is going to start September 1st. And we have organized several large scale projects here at Evertote, and our Sampler September project is it's kind of our last big thing that we haven't released yet for 2023. We've released the countdown, which is the daily stitch along, mystery stitch along during the month of December that I'm doing with Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery and Carrie of Roxy Floss Co. So that we've already released. We're currently selling that, and I have that stitch along planned for December. You know, we've got our retreats, Stitch North and Jacob Palooza, and you know, we've released other collaborations, and we have a collaboration with Leanne, 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers, and we're going to be releasing that generally after the Stitch North retreats. And so the Sampler September project is kind of our last really big thing that we have to share still. We plan on releasing it the weekend of the first Stitch North and sharing all of the details then. It is not going to be a mystery. We're going to show you the project. We're going to show you all of the supplies and all of those kinds of things. Now, I'm so excited about this. The reason I'm sharing it here and not on the workshop channel is because there is a stitch along component with it. I am going to be hosting that stitch along here on this channel, but not just a stitch along, there's going to be a knit along as well, because for the first time there's going to be sock yarn that goes with that. It doesn't have to go with, but if you're a sock knitter, there's going to be a sock yarn option, self-striping, dyed by Timber Yarns, Heather of Timber Yarns, another small Ontario local Canadian business. And the chart for the sampler was designed by my friend Ellen, Maximum Cross Stitch. So we are going to have a chart by Ellen. We're going to have a self-striping yarn by Heather. We're going to have floss and linen by Carrie. We're going to have everything put together by the Evertote team. Stitch along hosted by me, knit along hosted by me. Shiloh X Stitch MD is on board. She is going to be doing both the stitch along and the knit along as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be shipping these kits out in July. It won't be a mystery. The yarn is amazing. So basically, what happened was Ellen designed this chart, and the color palette was just amazing. And I've always wanted, I'd always wanted to do something like this. Okay, so then I talked to Heather Timber Yarns, who I've gotten to know a little bit, and I've got a little bit friendly. And so I said, you know, I love your yarn. Would you consider doing something like this with me? And she was all in. She was all in. And so Heather took Carrie's floss pack that Ellen chose the colors for to design her sampler with, and Heather has based the self-striping yarn off the colors of the floss pack for the sampler. So we have a sampler sock, and it is called the September. It's called the Sock Stripe Timber 2023. It is so good. I can't wait to share it with you. We're going to be releasing it in a couple of weeks, and then that is going to be the next official stitch along hosted by me. So that is why my goal and why I really, really, really want to have this done by the end of August, because I want that sense of accomplishment before I start the next stitch along. So I need to stay focused, get my stitching work done on my first My Friend Ellen's sampler before we start the second one. Okay, so enough about that. The other thing on my, my hair is all over the place today. The other thing on my timer, the sixth timer button on my multi-timer app is specifically reserved for an old project, an old whip. The old beloved projects from my stash pile that I have to find the time to work on them. And so Damask Square was the first one, and I finished it. Now these other projects, and what I've done is I've actually pulled the 3 projects from my stash pile that are going to be the 3 projects that I focus on that are in that coveted 6th timer. I'm going to cycle them 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours until those 3 projects are done. So if you've been here for a while, you are going to recognize these projects. The first one I have shared the last couple of weeks. This is Amtrak by Sampler Cove. And honestly, you guys, I'm so, like, considering how huge this project is, I have to finish it. So this is Amtrak by Sampler Cove. And I shared this last week on the Between Two Whips podcast with Carrie. And since I shared it last week, I've done this little section here in the band. That's all new. And so I just have a little bit more to go before I finish that border there. There's a square there. There's a thin band and a thicker band that come along here. And then there's one more square down here. And then this project is done. There's no way I'm going to finish it in 6 hours. There's far too much stitching still left to do because it is tiny. Let me bring it up close so that you can see my stitching. This is a 25 count even weave, 1 strand of silk floss over 1. I chose 3 colors. These were original Vicki Clayton silks. They're from like 2010. Night Smoke is the gray, Steely's is the blue, and then OMG Red 1149 is the red. And I love it. I love it so much. The chart, you can, I know that Claire at Celtic Hobbies sells the charts. She sells Sampler Cove charts. So that's www.celtichobbies.com. And if I remember, I will leave a link that will directly take you to her site where the pattern is. I had a little trouble finding it this morning. I don't know why. But I just Googled, I did a Google search for Celtic Hobbies, 2 words, and then it took me to her website, and then I was able to find it that way. So she has the charts. I don't carry the charts, but she has the physical copies of the charts. This is a beauty, you guys. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous chart. 3 colors, that's it. You can load your needle up with floss and you can go. It's so fun. Really, really fun stitch. And stitching it so small takes forever. I mean, it really does. It's a lot of time spent to just, you know, fill in a little bit of area, but it's so beautiful. I can't wait to frame this and have it on my wall. I'm really proud of it. So yeah, so Amtrak, how much time do I have left on this? Let's see. I have 4 hours and 18 minutes left on Amtrak before I'm going to swap it out for the next of 3 projects, okay? So these 3 projects, I'm just going to keep rotating them until they're done. So Amtrak is the first one. Are you ready? The second one, I know none of you, you won't be surprised. I love these charts so much. This is Frederica by Carriage House Samplings. I know that I enabled a few people to stitch this and they have finished these years ago, and I'm still not done mine. So it's time. It's time to finish it. Frederica, there is also, there's a Frederic as well. There's a Frederic and a Frederica. I have Frederic kitted up. I don't know if I'm going to stitch Frederic though. I think I might just stitch Frederica, finish her. So here's where I left it. Here's where I left it. I haven't touched this since, I don't know that I touched this at all last year. 2021 may have been the last year that I pulled this out and worked on it a little bit. And it needs a good press, but you'll get the idea. So here's where mine is. I made a bit of a boo-boo on the bottom border. The bottom border isn't supposed to have a line of yellow above the diamonds. That was actually omitted in the chart. Let me show you. Look closely at the bottom border on the chart. See that? See how it touches the top of the diamonds? And then there are how many rows of black stitching there above the diamonds? So I'm just omitting the extra row. Was it extra row? I can't remember what I did. What on earth did I do? Something like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I had it sideways. There we go. So I just omitted one of those extra lines at the bottom. I only have one instead of two. That's it. I filled it in. So this is, oh boy, 32 count, picture this plus, doubloon. Definitely an even weave. So yeah, 32 count, 2 strands of floss over 2, and I am using the called for DMC floss. Isn't it pretty? It's so pretty. I love it. The colors in this are right up my street. It just feels like fall. It's so beautiful. So yeah, that's a 32 count. 2 strands of floss over 2. So it's going to be finished, you guys. That's number 2. So Amtrak and Frederica. Now are you ready for number 3? Number 3, I cannot believe I have not finished this yet. Can't believe it, you guys. Can't believe it. Okay, this is Blackbird Designs. This was a 3-part piece. The seasons, there is spring, fall, and winter. One of them's missing. One of the seasons is missing. It's a 3-parter. I have the first 2 seasons done. Here's mine. See? Lots of you will recognize, let me back up a bit. Lots of you will recognize this piece. Lots of people have stitched this. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I can't remember what fabric this is. It also looks like doubloon, but on a linen. I had a real love affair with doubloon colorway, so I suspect that's what this is. It's absolutely gorgeous. What count? 32? 32 count, but it's a linen, not an even weave. And I am doing my own Vicki Clayton conversion for most of the colors. I just wrote it right in the chart what I'm doing. And again, this was back, like the silk that I used was way back in 2010, 2011. From when these charts first came out, my local needlework shop at the time was selling a lot of those original Vicki Clayton silks, and they were really well priced for silk floss at the time. I think she's dying again, and I believe that this is also still the case, that her silk floss is quite reasonably priced. But yeah, so you don't want to follow my conversion here, because I can't guarantee that any of these colors are still being dyed at all. But back in the day, and it's a great, you know, if you've got the stash and you are, you know, you're happy picking out your own colors, you should, you know, go for it. Kit it up with what you can find in your stash. So beautiful. Okay, so first two are done. I need to finish winter. That's the chart. That's what's missing from the end of my piece. That's it, you guys. I mean, I say that's it. It's still quite a bit. And here on the back, you can see that's the finished project right there, all together. Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. I need to finish it. I need to finish it. So, Seasons from Blackbird, Loose Feathers, that's what it's called. Loose Feathers from Blackbird Designs, Frederica from Carriage House Samplings, and Amtrak from Sampler Cove. Those are the three projects that I am going to focus on until they are done. And when I finish one of them, I'm going to replace it with another one from my old stash pile. You guys, I have so many pieces that I love that I want to finish. So it feels good. It feels like I'm getting back into them, and I'm really enjoying it so much. Okay, I mentioned I had a new start that I was planning. Now I've got all my stuff is all over the place here. So this chart is from, and this is how I found the Halloween Lizzie Kate chart, because it was with this other Lizzie Kate chart of mine, Coffee Time. And I've had this chart for quite a while because I've stitched this chart here, the But First Coffee. Now this makes me laugh because actually I'm going to see my niece Clara this weekend. And when I first stitched this and I was talking about it, Clara, I think, watched my video and all she heard was But First Coffee. And she asked her mom, my sister-in-law Kathy, she said, Mom, why is Auntie Carrie going butt first into her coffee? She was young and it was funny and we all laughed. But first, coffee. I finished that into a notions pouch. So I've had this, I think this was a screen cap on one of the first videos on this channel from a number of years back. I love this little chart. I love this little notions pouch. This has the floss in it for my ink circles. The tapestry, you know, the ink circles tapestry chart. My flosses are in here. And I've got a little donut progress keeper as my zipper pull. Oh, let's get it to focus there. It's so cute. My little donut. There we go. Cute. So I do love turning my stitched finishes into bags. Not the first time I've done it, and it won't be the last. They're useful, they're cute, I like them, and it's a handy way to finish off a project. Oh, you know what? I just found a Daria hair on that. This has been tucked away for a while. I've been reorganizing a few things and stuff is starting to come out of the storage boxes that they've been in for quite a while from when I moved in here. And yeah, Daria was my golden retriever before Snoozy Pants over here, before Luna. And yeah, she was a lovely, lovely companion. So I finished this one a long time ago, finished into a notions pouch. There are 3 charts in this Lizzie Kate booklet. There was only one other one that I wanted to stitch, and that was the Dear Coffee, I Love You. That is all. So this is the one, this little guy right there. I've kitted it up, and I'm taking it with me to my mom and dad's tomorrow. And I'm gonna have myself a long weekend. New start. So I stitched the C is for Coffee on Snickerdoodle. This is a one-of-a-kind Roxy Floss Co linen. We have some more, but it's not repeatable. And I love the coffee design on it. And so I grabbed another piece of 32 count because I wanted them to match. So this is also Snickerdoodle. And then I just went and picked some colors that looked like, I went and chose some, oops, I had to move you again. There we go. I wanted just to have my big huge door in the side there, but anyways, I could use my head to cover it up. But I went and chose some floss colors that looked like the colors in the cover model. So I've got, this is actually the rest of the Legendary that was in my Heartstring Samplery piece. So I'm going to use that up. So that's Legendary, Espresso, Butter Chicken, and Grassy. There's very little green in it. So the main color, of course, is the Espresso, which is fitting, right? So those are my colors. That's my linen. It's a tiny little chart, and it's just gonna be like a palette cleanser. So I'm excited about that. So that's my new start for this weekend. It's just small. I'm toying with the idea of maybe using, I need something for the Smalls Exchange for Stitch North. Now, clearly, if you get it, you'll know it's from me. But I haven't decided yet. I have another small finish that I could use. I just need to FFO it into something. So I haven't 100% decided. So I want to participate in the Smalls Exchange this year, but I don't know. I'm going to be at both weekends. So I guess I need to do both Smalls Exchanges. That might be pushing it. I'm already not great with, you know, FFOing things right away. They tend to linger, and then I finish them 3 years later. So that's what I need to do. I need to go and I need to look for something that I finished 3 years ago and FFO it and use that as in the Smalls Exchange. That would really be, that would be Caroline style. So Lizzie Kate, and yeah, so that's gonna be my new little start. So that's it for stitching. That's it for cross stitching today. I have a little bit more knitting to share with you. So if you're not here for the knitting and you stuck through the socks at the beginning, you've had enough, that's it, then I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you back on this channel in 2 weeks. I will be I'm on an every other week schedule, and every other week I record the joint floss tube over on the other channel with Carrie. So knitting. I shared this sock whip a number of months ago when I got back from the trip, when I went to England, when I went to the retreat, the UK, what was it called? Oh my goodness. It was so much fun, and it was hosted by, you guys, my brain, it's gone. It's complete. I can see her face. I know her name, and it's gone. I know the name of the retreat, and it's gone. I'm going to put all of this information up on the screen because she is definitely hosting another one this year. It was in October last year, and Carrie and I went over together. We had a wonderful holiday. It was so fun. And Carrie purchased some yarn for us, trip yarn, sock yarn, and we both started our project on the plane on the way over. So this sock yarn is a self-striping sock yarn by a UK dyer, and the name of the dyer is Trailing Clouds. And I will put a link in the drop-down box below. So Trailing Clouds on Etsy, UK-based shop. And this yarn is called Mind the Gap. And what it is, it's a self-striping sock yarn that is based on all of the different colors of the different lines of the London Underground. And so every new stripe is a different color of a different line. And the sort of ubiquitous saying when you're on the Underground and the voice comes over the loudspeaker and says, mind the gap, because there's sometimes there's a gap between the platform and the train. And so it's memory yarn, and they're going to be memory socks. So I started these socks when we left on vacation. I started the socks on the plane, and I am not a good traveler. I'm really not. Poor Carrie. I'm a very nervous flyer, and so surprisingly, because you'd think that my tension would have been super grippy tight, it was extremely loose, because I think I was just, you know, trying just to have something to occupy my hands. The tension was very loose, and the sock itself just seemed way too big. And so a few weeks back, I ripped out the sock. I ripped it all out. I changed needles to my favorite. I knit socks on a small circular 9-inch needle. My favorite needles are the Signature needles. The small circulars have one of the ends is a stiletto tip, and the other end isn't. So one of them is super sharp, super pointy. Here we go. Super pointy there. And then, so I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes left to reknit to get me back to where I was before I ripped it out. But I love it. It's bright, they're happy, they're colorful. I love striped socks. Love them. Stripy socks are the best. I have knitting tutorial videos on a playlist on this channel. If you've always wanted to learn how to knit, I take you right from beginning, learning how to knit a dishcloth, to knitting a hat, to knitting a pair of gloves, mittens I should say, not gloves, like they're mittens, and then sock, all the way through. Playlist you can find on this channel. If you've always wanted to learn how to knit, I can't recommend it highly enough. Knitting is so fun. Now, Carrie and I we sat together last Friday in the kitchen here at the workshop, and we were knitting. It was lunchtime, and we were chatting and knitting, and we started talking about crochet, because I think it's Shiloh's fault, X-Stitch MD. I think it's her fault, because she has started crocheting, and she's been, you know how you get suggestions on Instagram based on what other people are liking and following, and you like their stuff and follow what they're liking and following? So a whole bunch of crochet stuff started coming into my feed, probably because, you know, the slower you scroll past stuff and the algorithm can tell that you're looking at it, and they start feeding you more of the same. So I'm getting a lot of crochet stuff in my Instagram feed, and I'm not mad about it at all, because now I really want to learn how to crochet. Like, I learned the basic chain stitch years ago, and I've just never really gotten the hang of it. I just really want to learn how to do it now, because the projects that I'm seeing are so beautiful. I know, and I haven't finished Sarah's Afghan yet, and I have a million other projects, and that's okay, because for me it's I subscribe 100% to the ethos of stitch what you want when you want, craft what you want when you want. If you can do it, and it doesn't drive you canary bananas, that's not an expression. If it doesn't drive you, you know, cuckoo birds, then do what you love. It's your hobby. Do what you love. Laura, serial starter, right? I think she would approve. So I don't know. I'm considering starting a small, I say that. I like big projects. Maybe a small pillow to start with, crochet. I really want to learn how to do it. I do. My friend Audrey, who passed away a number of years ago, originally taught me how to crochet, and I did actually finish a couple of granny squares, like granny squares, like complete. but I can't remember how to do it. It was literally, I'm going to say at least 15, 20 years ago. I can't remember. I can't remember a thing. So I need to learn how to, I got to do it. Got to do it. Really want to do it. Okay, anyways, that's my Trailing Clouds yarn, self-striping. Restarted that sock. I like having socks at different stages of the game because, you know, knitting the cuff, doing the heel, and doing the toe. Those are all parts of the anatomy of the sock that require focus and concentration. Whereas the leg and the foot, because I really like simple construction socks, the leg and the foot is just easy. It's just round and round and round, and you can do it anywhere. I do a lot of, you know, sitting at the dinner table. My father-in-law, it's the best chairs for his back and his knee. It's the most comfortable place for him to sit. So we spend a fair bit of time sitting at our kitchen dining room table because he eats with us most nights of the week. He'll come over and we will visit at the kitchen table. And so I'm sitting there for quite a while. And so sock knitting is just something that's very simple that you can still be a part of the conversation and not have to carry around a lot of, you know, flotsam and jetsam for the various projects, other projects that I'm working on. This is all I need, right? I chuck it in my bag and I plop it on the table and I have a cup of coffee after dinner and I can knit a few rounds on my sock. It's so easy, it's so fun. But I can't do heel decreases, I can't work on a toe, I can't do things like that. So I like to have at least 2 sock projects on the go so that I've got one that's just round and round and round, then the other one when I have a few minutes to concentrate and count and look at what I'm doing, then I can do that. So remember my reward for finishing the biscuit socks? I have it in here. Timber Yarns. This is Timber Yarns, Heather Timber Yarns, the lady who is going to be dyeing all of those lovely sampler striped timber sock sets. This was yarn that I bought myself a couple of years ago for my birthday. It is her Gerber colorway. It looks like summer. It looks like summer in a sock. So I showed you how they were skeined up before. They came in 2 50-gram skeins. Yeah, there's 2 50 grams and then they match too. So they are 2 single skeins dyed at the same time for matching socks, and you're supposed to start at the same end of each skein. So, and it's an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. So I've caked them up. This is what they look like. So this is gonna magically turn into 2 socks eventually. My goal should really be to finish them by September so that I can cast on my sampler striped timber socks September 1st. My knitting cal is going to last for 2 months. It's going to last through September for sock, not these ones, different socks. September for sock 1 and October for sock 2, because October is Socktober. So those are my lofty goals. So I've got my yellow as my cast on. So I'm going to start both socks with the yellow is going to be the lip around the top of the sock, because I do a German twisted cast on for the cuff, and the way that I start that long tail cast on, I can start so that the yellow will be the cast on edge, and then the next color will start the row below. Gerber. So I need to cast the first sock on. So these I'm going to take with me when I go to visit my parents. So I'm taking 3 things with me: my round and round sock, my cast on sock, and my new little coffee start. Because it's small, all I need to take with me is a Q-snap, and when my hand gets tired from holding the Q-snap, I can knit. That's the goal. That's the plan, I should say, not the goal. I have a project bag my niece made for me. Here it is. It's buried under all of my stuff that I've been showing you today. My niece Clara, who I can't wait to see her this weekend. She's now a cross stitcher, you guys. And she's been a cross stitcher for a while, but now she's into it. We've reeled her in. She finished, this was my Christmas gift from Clara this year. This was the very first cross stitch project that I kitted up and gave to her when she was 7 years old. And she is now 12. And she finished the project, and then her mom helped her turn it into a project bag for me. So I have my Q-snap for my little coffee design is ready to go. Now I can tuck in my fabric and my floss. All I need to remember is a needle and some scissors, and then I'm ready to go. So I'm bringing my project bag that Clara made for me and my 2 socks. And I'm gonna drink so much coffee because my dad always has a pot of coffee on, and he's always, my dad likes to drink coffee too, and he's always asking, would you like some coffee? Shall we put on a pot of coffee? Or my mom will say, does Carrie want some coffee? Should you put some I know Carrie, my parents call me Carrie. I know, and I work with Carrie of Roxy Floss Co. Now she spells her Carrie K-E-R-R-I. My Carrie, me, is C-A-R-R-I-E. And literally my mom and dad, my brother, and my sister-in-law are the only people now who call me Carrie. John even calls me Caroline because, you know, when you're a kid and you go through phases, and my parents have always called me Carrie since I was born. My birth name is Caroline, and that's what I go by. But my parents always called me Carrie. I was named after one of my mom's best friends. And everyone called her Carrie. And so that's why my mom and dad call me that. And so when I was a kid and I went to school, I was Carrie. And then when I was 11 years old, we moved. And you know, when you're 11 and you're almost a teenager, and it's that chance to sort of reinvent yourself with kids who don't know you or anything about you, and it's a brand new fresh start. And I wanted to feel a little more grown up, so I decided to use my given name, which was Caroline. Now, when I went to university, that changed. I decided to go by Carrie again, so I was Carrie for 4 years, but I'd already met John, who met me as Caroline. I know, it's all very, very fascinating stuff, isn't it? But anyways, now you know a little bit about why. If you hear somebody, if you ever meet my parents and they're calling me Carrie, now you know why. So my mom will say, Carrie, do you want some coffee? Pat, put some coffee on for Carrie. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing them. It's been a while since we've been able to spend any time together, so I'm looking forward to seeing them. My mom watches my videos now, so I know she's gonna see this. And sometimes she says, she fast forwards through the crafting parts sometimes because she says they're boring. That's fine, that's fine. She says this is how she keeps tabs on me, is by watching these videos. So anyway, it's funny. The Masters Golf is on this weekend. I know that. I'm sure John isn't overly sad that he's getting rid of us out of the house for a couple of days because he can watch as much golf as he wants. I'm not against having sports on in the house. I'm not a sports watcher, but I am a crafter who appreciates the time spent together in the living room while the sports are on, because it's not a show that I want to watch, or I'm happy just kind of listening to the people who are watching the sports, listening to them enjoy what they're watching. And so it is perfect crafting television. So I know that when I get home on Saturday and Sunday, there's still going to be lots of golf on for me to craft through. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of coffee drinking and a lot of crafting going on this weekend. I'm pretty excited. So that is it for me today. I think I have a huge pile of stuff here to put away in front of me because I think I have shared it all. But I hope you enjoyed visiting with me today. I certainly loved having a look through all of my projects. I'm in such a great place with everything that I'm working on now. I love it all so much. There isn't anything that I feel I'm not happy with the colors, or, you know, sometimes you've got a project that just isn't working. Everything is gelling and feels really good, and I'm happy that I've been finishing things, and yeah, it feels really good. Another huge thanks to my friend Judy, who sent me her Amtrak pattern because mine went walkabout. I think it got recycled, and so Miss Judy, who is a very good friend, she emailed me and she said, I have that chart, why don't I send it to you? And So when I'm finished stitching Amtrak, I will pass Judy's copy on to somebody else, because I'll share that kindness on to somebody else. Okay, that's it. I need to get back to work. I need to make some more coffee, and I need to take you-know-who out for a you-know-what, and then get back to work. So I'll see you back on this channel in 2 weeks. I'll see you on Instagram over at Evertotes if you're around on there. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Happy stitching. Take care. I'll see you soon.